Normally I say morning, but in this case it's evening. So today is August 28th, and before I jump into this video, I was going to say tomorrow I will be at the Farm Progress show, so don't be a stranger. Come up, say hey. I'll be there the 29th, 30th, and 31st. Tomorrow is actually my anniversary, so I'm going to be getting there a little bit later, but I'll be around. It's pretty frowned upon if you don't go out to eat or something along those lines for your anniversary, so I'll be doing that first. But anyhow, this video is 2 months back, 2 months behind. I am starting to catch up. Corn in this video was like V6 knee high, and I'm 6 foot tall, and well, it's a little taller than me now. It's about 10 foot, 12 foot in places tall, but it looks very, very good. We're at full dent now. It is actually starting to dry down. Absolutely no tip back, and you'll notice this is white corn, not yellow. Got that sold for a pretty good premium. Looking at some 250 plus corn this year, so really happy about that. We were fortunate, we caught a lot of timely rains in this little pocket we're in. A lot of places around us didn't this year, but we were pretty fortunate. We caught, just some little blips on the radar, little pop-up showers, and got very, very fortunate. Not every year is like that. In fact, I would say most years are not. But pretty fortunate for that. Very thankful for that. So without further ado, we'll get into this video. About the after this clip's in, probably about that 4 or 5 minute mark, you'll see what not to do if you're driving a car around farm equipment. That made it into the video. I had to censor out what I said, but you get the gist of it. Use your imagination. So yeah, anyhow, don't do what that guy did. That guy, there's a special place for when he dies. So anyhow, let's get into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and all that jazz, or you won't have 18 by 42 years at a 36,000 population. And that is definitely, for those that don't know, extremely good corn. Happy dogs, happy kids, and a happy garden. Well, we're working on having a happy garden. The corn's happy today too. It's looking really, really good since we got a rain yesterday. We ended up getting about an inch, so we desperately, desperately needed that. Wheat should be ready later this week up there, and life will be good. Well, it's starting to get real. I finally got the air conditioner figured out on that thing. Turns out it was a stupid freaking hookup fitting where you charge the damn thing. That's what was leaking the whole time. But I had to top the cab off and blew out the condenser, blew out the evaporator, blew out all kinds of shit on it, and it blows way better now. It's like a White House intern when Clinton was in office. So it's doing a good job now, and it's nice and ice cold in there. So get it washed and cleaned up. The cart got put away halfway dirty last year, and the pigeons decided to shit all over it. And the tractor's planted and baled hay and not been cleaned up. So they're both dirty, but the combine's clean. So waiting on a guy to get back with me on a new ECM, which is $1,600 for this thing. Long story short, but it's emission shit that went haywire. It's deleted, but it still has to have the DEF unit and wiring harness and everything like that to communicate to the DEF sending unit, and it's just a whole debacle. But it's making progress, I guess. We tightened the feeder house chain. We straightened out this latch here, ran it up the road to the welding shop. It was a little bent, and then the strap here, which is missing a bolt, and yes, I know it's missing a bolt, Let's not talk about why, but let's just say there's an easy out stuck in it, and I got pissed and said 3 will hold it today. So, tighten feeder house chain, fix that latch, got all the lights working on it. There was a couple wigging out. The steering position sensor back here was bad. Case says you can't buy just the sensor, you've got to buy the whole $1,600 cylinder, or $1,400, $1,600. I think it was $1,800, but I got a Reman one, so it was only $1,400. And then I had a buddy that's a Deere mechanic that said, we can just reconnect the wires in there. And so we did, and he saved me a lot of money. So I owe him some cases of beer for that, because he saved me a good chunk of change on that. So it's working again. We've got the wheat concaves in. The only thing, I tightened the clean grain elevator chain. The only thing I got left to do is back here. I think I got it opened up right now. But that's your straw chopper, and it is missing a few of the stationary knives. So I've got those there in the box. So I need to crawl up in the ass end and put a couple of those in. But other than that, it's ready to go. I did order some new cameras for it because I didn't care for the ones I had on it last year. They kept wigging out, so ordered some new cameras for it, and should be good to go. Ready to cut wheat. Tomorrow the plan is to wash this up, wax it. I got the majority of the mechanical things that need done to it, but everything's about ready to cut wheat. Semi's hooked up, ready to roll. Got it washed as well. It's looking spiffy. Need to do some polishing again. Things are starting to get dull, but that can wait. But for the most part, ready to cut some wheat. Cart's greased and ready to go. It's all hooked up, and yeah, we'll be getting with it. I would say maybe tomorrow I might nose into some and try it. But we tested some wheat today, and it was 18.5%. To be dry, I want it around 13. I'd be fine at 15, really, but it's super humid today. The Canadian wildfires, can't really tell, but it's hazy. It's not near as bad now as it was earlier today, but it's just been extremely hazy and humid. So things aren't really drying much, but it got dark in a hurry. That's what happens when you live on the highway and too many people are, well, I'm friendly with everybody, and people stop by off the highway, and we end up shooting the breeze and solving the world's problems, and next thing you know, it's dark out, and you should have been home 2 hours ago. You'll have that on them big jobs, though. Well, good afternoon. The wind finally died down. Yesterday, I planned on doing what I'm doing right now, but the wind was not going to let that happen. Got 100 acres sprayed over there already today. We went shopping for a spreader truck, and we may end up buying a spreader truck and a tractor. Kind of a bundle deal. But I am putting foliar feed and a cheapish generic fungicide on some of this corn. It's about V6, V7, most of it is. It's looking really good. We've got some rain. We've got some more rain in the forecast, so it's looking like it's got a lot more potential now that we got some water on it. And so we're spoon feeding it. It's got NP and K, and then lots and lots of micronutrients, some sugar, all kinds of good stuff in here. So without further ado, let's get with it. And this is some very, very, very good looking corn. Actually got to raise my boom up in spots here because it's so tall already. I can't believe how good it looks, but really good looking stuff. It's definitely got some yield potential to it, and it's already touching my ladder, so ain't bad. I'll take it. Spraying and mowing. Got to keep the field edges looking pretty along the interstate and highway. Everything is mowed, and everything that I couldn't get with the mower is sprayed, so That's how a roadside should look. The corn doesn't look too bad either. Well, the combine is not throwing any more codes. I believe it's set for wheat. So we're gonna go try some this afternoon. I think it's still too wet, but we might cut one semi-load, haul it to town, and see what it tests. Here goes nothing. Well, it cut. Everything worked like it was supposed to. And it's really good wheat so far. I don't know what the yield is exactly because I didn't cut enough to know, but I cut like half a hopper and it's wet. It's like 19-20%. So I stopped. I'm not gonna get in any rush and cut a bunch of wet wheat and take a dog. So it was 18 when I tested it. Anyhow, it was 18 when I tested it, and yeah, I just got that on camera. That's kind of funny. It was 18 when I tested it, but it's way too wet, so another day. Probably next week. We're picking out which one we want to go ride in. Told him if he was good today, we can make a few laps on the farms. He's trying his best to get in the combine now. Wired up some cameras and fixed all the lights on the combine today. So it's pretty well 100% ready to go on wheat now whenever it decides to dry up. And we lucked out, got 6/10 of rain here at the farm. A lot of my ground didn't even get but a sprinkle. It wasn't even enough to settle the dust, but at least on a few hundred acres, got 6/10. Some of the stuff that didn't get it really is starting to hurt. It just happened to be a little dot on the radar and we got lucky and got 6/10 here. But across the highway there, corn is just looking phenomenal. It's dark green. That foliar feed definitely got a hold of it, and the turkey litter as well. So as soon as the wheat decides to dry up, we'll nose into that, get that cut. I think we're going to be baling some of it up, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But just kind of been mowing the yard and enjoying life today. Haven't really recorded anything. Just fixed cameras and all that fun stuff. So anyhow, it's a productive day. Just didn't really, kind of forgot to record anything. Well, I think the wheat is still too wet, but I'm impatient. I'm gonna cut maybe a hopper, see what it tests, go from there. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. It looks really good though. Well, I tried to cut some wheat today. It's still way too wet, and it just started pissing and pouring out of nowhere. So that's fun. Now we've got a semi-load of about 22% wheat that's getting rained on. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.